This episode of the Downtown Rams podcast is brought to you by our proud sponsors, Thrive Fantasy, Built Bar, and ExpressVPN. Now, using promo code DTSN, our listeners can get $20 bonus cash on a deposit of at least $20 on Thrive Fantasy, 10% off their Built Bar protein bar order, and 35% off their ExpressVPN annual subscription. Once again, all you have to do is use the promo code DTSN and tell them the Downtown Rams podcast sent you. Now enjoy the show.
Aaron Donald creates the fumble. Goff goes crashing into the end zone.
It is intercepted by Jalen Ramsey.
Robert Wood, touchdown. Picked off by John Johnson. Touchdown, Tyler Higbee. Cooper Kupp plucks it out of the air.
Henderson with a good run and a first down. Still on his feet. Touchdown, Van Jefferson.
Everett in stride. Wow. Play for the Lombardi.
Welcome back, guys, to another Downtown Rams podcast. It is episode 334. I'm your host, Jake Ellenbogen. Joining me again is Alexis Kraft. She is back, and we have a special guest from the Bleav In Patriots podcast, co-host with Doug Flutie himself, Brady Farkas. How's it going, my man? Thank you so much for joining us.
I appreciate you guys for having me, man. It should be a fun game tomorrow night, so looking forward to it.
Yes, us too. Definitely expect it to be a fun game. And before we kind of dive into breaking down the game, I want to go over the injury report. I'll start with the Rams. So there are 3 players who are in the injury report who will be playing tomorrow, and that is running back Cam Akers, defensive lineman Michael Brockers, and outside linebacker Terrell Lewis. Offensive lineman Brian Allen is healthy, but he most likely will not be playing. And then kicker Matt Gay is questionable as of today. Now I got to get into the Patriots injury report, which is quite extensive. All of the following players that I'm about to list are questionable for tomorrow. Quarterback Cam Newton, running back J.J. Taylor, fullback Jacob Johnson, wide receiver Matthew Slater, tight end Ryan Izzo, offensive lineman Shaq Mason, defensive lineman Adam Butler, defensive lineman Byron Cowart, defensive lineman Lawrence Guy, linebacker Juwan Bentley, defensive back Kyle Duggar, defensive back J.C. Jackson, defensive back Jonathan Jones, and kicker Nick Folk. So all of those players are questionable for tomorrow. But, that doesn't mean that they won't play. It just means as of right now, they are questionable. So I'm sure there'll be kind of an equal mix of players who are playing and players who are not. So Brady, what are your thoughts on the Patriots injury report as of right now?
I mean, it is extensive as you just went through. I think Cam's going to play. That's the biggest thing, even though he hasn't played all that well in terms of his passing numbers this year. He's expected to play. They need Butler to be there. They need Jackson to be there. They need everybody. The Rams are better than they are. If they're going to beat the Rams, they need a majority of those players playing. It seems like a majority of them will be playing. Cam is going to play, and that having your starting quarterback is kind of the biggest thing for them.
I couldn't agree more. And, with the way the Patriots have played this year, I mean, they're not a bad defense. This is a team that, keep in mind, I mean, obviously, Brady, I'm talking to my listeners here. I know a lot of people want to write off the Patriots since Brady left, but there were a lot of players that opted out because of COVID. So it's still an extensive roster and there's a lot of depth. It's just, they lost a lot of guys, due to opting out. And, they drafted guys like Kyle Duggar, who is on the injury report. They have a J.C. Jackson, somebody I really liked, in the draft. And, J.C. Jackson, I think he's leading the league in interceptions with 7 or 8. So, those are significant names on the injury report. And it's kind of weird, both teams have kickers on their injury report. That's very odd. That never happens. One thing I'll say, though, it's pretty bad when you play the Rams because, Alexis and I have been doing this every week, and I can tell you every injury report, it's the Rams have a little bit, and the team playing them is cursed and has like a laundry list. It's crazy.
The Patriots have, they've dealt with a lot this year, and every team has dealt with a lot in their own way, but the Pats have dealt with a lot. They lose their starting quarterback to coronavirus. Cam can't play. Then he's trying to learn the offense, and as he's doing that, he's quarantined. They can't practice with the team for a while. They've had some lack of production from guys they've counted on, and N'Keal Harry. Julian Edelman is still out, so that's been a problem. And then they had key players opt out. You talk about the number 8, that's a big number, but a projected starting fullback in Danny Vitale, he opts out. Then you lose your best linebacker in Dante Hightower. You lose Patrick Chung, who's the guy who would probably cover a lot of these good tight ends that they've gone against. So they've lost some guys. They've stubbed their toe. They've looked really bad at times. Even when they won, they've looked bad at times. But they play a different brand of football than the rest of the league. And I don't know if that was because Belichick is such a genius that they're zigging when everybody else zags, or because they've just fallen into having to play this way. But they found a way where they can win games. It doesn't necessarily mean they're going to go to the playoffs, but they're here in December battling for a playoff berth. And I think that's more than a lot of people, including me, expected.
Yeah, sorry, my mic cut out there. But yeah, I totally agree. And I think one of the reasons that the Patriots, no matter what, are always dangerous is because of Bill Belichick. I mean, it's just undeniable. So going into this game, we have Sean McVay versus Bill Belichick, which we saw in the Super Bowl. And honestly, Rams fans can probably admit that Bill Belichick got the best of that matchup. So, Jake, I want to ask you this, and then I want Brady to answer the same question. But if you're Sean McVay, what is your game plan going against the Patriots?
Well, if I'm Sean McVay, I'm not overthinking everything like I did in the Super Bowl. I think, and I've said this, I've gone on record saying this, I think McVay there were 10 different game plans that went through his head. I mean, he had 2 weeks to plan for it, and he only put up 3 points. I think he gets really into it to the point where I think he overthinks himself and doesn't go for just the thing that's right there. Against Bill Belichick, he's had Jared Goff's number since he came into the league. I mean, the Rams played the Patriots in Goff's rookie year. They played the Patriots in the Super Bowl. So, this is, opportunity number 3 here. And Jared Goff is starting to play a little bit better. But we've seen he's susceptible to that type of style of defense, very aggressive. We saw it, one of Bill Belichick's disciples who's absolutely killing it in Miami, in Brian Flores, who also was the defensive coordinator in the Super Bowl. He had his way with, Jared Goff and Sean McVay, and really sent the house pretty much every single play. And obviously they have some key contributors there. I mean, it's not like they don't have talent. But the Patriots, I feel like people still just, and I was kind of alluding to this earlier, people are kind of sleeping on their defense. So the Rams have to be careful. They're going to have to play their style of football. And to me, their style of football, whether they like it or not, it's running with that 3-headed monster backfield in Cam Akers, Darrell Henderson, and Malcolm Brown, establishing play action and making things easier on Jared Goff. You can't go into this game just trying to throw against Stephon Gilmore and J.C. Jackson. It's just not going to work the way you want it to.
I think the Rams need to focus more on their defensive game plan, because I think that's going to be the fascinating battle here, is what does the Rams defense elect to do? The Rams have a great secondary. They have arguably the top secondary in the league. They allow the fewest yards per pass play in the NFL. I sit here and I think to myself, the Rams could stack the box with 8 or 9 people and then just try to completely take away the run and force their secondary into single coverage and dare Cam to beat them through the air. They could easily do that, and I think that's what they should do. If they do that, then how does Belichick and Josh McDaniels, how do they counteract that? Well, I mean, a couple things they could do, right? They could simply just line it up, play power football, and, hey, you want to put 9 up there? We'll play tight, and we'll just try to power through you. They could say, hey, you want to do that? We'll throw play action at you and see if we can turn a 5-yard slant into an 80-yard run because nobody is there on the backside to help because everybody's at the line. Or they can spread out the offense and say, hey, we're going to go 4 wide receivers, spread everything out, shrink the box, and then just run it that way. We're still going to run, but we're going to run out of spread formation. I think that's going to be the interesting game plan here, is how the Rams defense plays the Patriots offense.
I agree. And the Rams defense, obviously our listeners are familiar But for any, Patriots fans listening, the Rams defense is actually, like, truthfully, it's the lifeblood of this team. Our offense is like super hot and cold. Jake kind of mentioned the running game. But our defense is really the one that kind of makes or breaks the game for us. And I talk about this failing offense, and that I can't talk about our offense, and I shouldn't call them failing, I guess, but struggling. I can't talk about a struggling offense without talking about our quarterback, Jared Goff. So we've talked at length about Jared Goff, but just Brady, in your opinion, or from what you've seen this season, what are your thoughts on him, and what do you think he's going to have to do going up against Bill Belichick?
Well, I you know what? I watch a lot of Jared Goff because I watch a lot of NFC West games because I'm also, I'm a Seahawks fan by trade here. I'm a Patriots fan by work, but I'm a Seahawks fan. I'm a Seahawks fan by trade, so I see a lot of Goff. I think the Rams are super creative. I think that whole division is pretty creative. Seattle a little bit notwithstanding, they can be at times, but between the Shanahan, Kingsbury, and McVay, I think it's a very creative division offensively. So I think Goff works well with McVay.
Oh, boy.
He hasn't been able to figure out this defense, though, right? You mentioned the Super Bowl. You mentioned the Miami game. Well, Joe Judge, even in the game the Rams won, Joe Judge still did a pretty good job with his defensive game plan, too. So Flores and Judge have held the Rams to 2 of their 3 lowest scoring totals this year. So Goff and McVay have had problems against this style of defense. I think there's a couple of things that the Patriots do, and we talk about it on our podcast with Flutie, where he mentions this specifically. The Rams run such a quick-hitting offense, such a quick-hitting passing offense. You're probably not getting home to sack them very regularly. So how do you do that? What do you do then? You give the illusion that you're bringing pressure, and then you have 5 guys lined up in the line, and then you drop 3 of them. And now all of a sudden it's a 2-man rush. Goff has time to scan things, but there's 9 guys in coverage, and the waters are muddied. And this quick, short passing game that the Rams like to do isn't really there because there's so many people around on defense muddying the waters. And even when the pass is complete, there's so many tacklers there that what usually for the Rams becomes a 4-yard dump off and turns into a 9-yard pass is a 4-yard pass that stays a 4-yard pass. And that is what the Patriots have been able to do against the Rams in the past, and what these defenses have done against McVay that have had success. So, the Patriots got a lot of pressure last week on Justin Herbert. I don't know that they're going to try to bring a ton of pressure this time. They might give the illusion of pressure and then drop back and just say, hey, you're going to throw it. We know you're going to throw it, but we're going to be there to tackle you after your short gain, and we're not going to let you get the big play. The Rams get a lot of yards. They're 3rd in the league in yards, but they're 17th in the league in points. So if the Patriots can keep them out of, limit them out of the red zone and just take away big plays, they're going to have a chance to win this game. I have no doubt in my mind the Patriots defense is going to play very well tomorrow night. I think the Rams are going to win, but I think it's going to be low scoring, ugly, hard to watch. And I think what wins the game is the Rams defense. The Patriots defense is going to play well. That I am convinced of.
Well, yeah, I think, when you look at these two teams, we saw a similar matchup, the Rams and Buccaneers, I thought. You had that ugly kind of defensive battle, and then, of course, the Rams ended up kind of shocking everyone and really being able to throw all over Tampa Bay, which is not something I really expected.
This will be much uglier than that, trust me.
And I agree with you, because I've been watching a lot of Patriots games, and, I think when you look at what they do, and obviously, Bill Belichick, anything's possible, in my opinion. I think he can win any game with any sort of personnel. I think, he is the best. And when I look at this Patriots team, I really think that, you look at the Chiefs game, for instance. I mean, they were in that game. The score at the end didn't really indicate how close that game truly was. And that was without Cam Newton. And that is only because their defense keeps them in it. Their offense really hasn't been that impressive to me, although they are 3rd in rushing. I think really the thing that helped them was getting back Damian Harris, because I think Harris, to me, is the X factor of their offense. When you look at Damian Harris, I think he's one of the better running backs that no one talks about in this league. And there's a reason why all of a sudden Sony Michel got, phased out. I mean, Damian Harris is going to be the guy for the foreseeable future as long as he can stay healthy. They have guys that, again, I think the Patriots are really just, once again, not really much of a they don't have a bunch of household names, but guys like Demir Bird have shown you. I mean, he had a game where he had over 130 yards receiving. Really like Jacoby Myers, had a chance to see him up close and personal at the Senior Bowl. I know that guy can play and can create separation. So I mean, they have obviously solid players that don't quite have the big name behind them. Some interesting things coming in this game. Derek Rivers, former Patriot, was claimed by the Rams a few weeks ago. He'll likely be active in this one. He was active last week. The Patriots have beaten the Rams the last 6 times they've played. The Rams are 5-9 all time against the Patriots, including 0-2 in the postseason. I know every Rams fan's punching air right now hearing that. The interesting thing here, though, Brady, when I look at these two teams, both of them generate takeaways. The Patriots are right outside the top 10 and 11th, and the Rams are 5th in takeaways. We've seen Jared Goff turn the ball over, and he turns it all over in bunches. If he takes care of the football, pretty much the Rams can win any game. But if he doesn't, we've seen it. The Rams defense held Tua Tagovailoa to under 100 total yards, and they lost by 11. So we've seen that. But with the flip side of things, Cam Newton, 9 interceptions, only 5 passing touchdowns. Now, he's a guy that they like to use, obviously, running the ball at the goal line, and that's the thing. They're going to want to get in the red zone because they're pretty much automatic, except for the Seattle game, when, Cam Newton's at the goal line. So kind of, going into this, what are your thoughts on who's going to have the better game, Jared Goff or Cam Newton? I think that's really the interesting thing here, because we've seen Cam Newton had a really good game against the Texans. He threw for over 300 yards, and they lost. But we've also seen Cam Newton win a game having less than 70 yards. So, what are your thoughts on those two guys?
I mean, I think Goff has the better game statistically. It doesn't mean that he's going to light it up. I mean, I think the final score is going to be 19-14. Like, I think the Rams are going to win 19-14. So I don't think there's huge stats going around for either guy here. I think Goff will turn it over more easily than Cam will. Cam has 2 interceptions since week 6. Like, the ratio is bad, but he's only got 2 picks since week 6, and they both came against Arizona. So he has stopped turning the football over. Now, because of that, he's also gotten very gun shy. So like on the positive side, he's not turning it over. He's not beating himself, but he leaves plays on the field, and he leaves throws that are there because he just doesn't want to make them, because I think he doesn't completely have confidence in himself to be able to throw the ball down the field. I think Cam will protect the football. I don't think he'll beat himself. I think they can play a field position game. I think that Goff will make a big play or two that can help be a difference in the game. So I think Goff has a better statistical game. I think he does more to win the game. But I think Cam will not lose the Patriots this football game. If the Rams lose, I think Goff will have a hand in losing it for them, if that makes sense.
No, that totally makes sense. And that's typically how it goes. But, we talk about the quarterbacks, but I'm curious, in your opinion, who do you think is going to be the biggest breakout offensive player on each team this game?
Oh man, the biggest offensive player in this game. I think that the Rams running backs, and you guys know more about it than me, but what they're doing now with Akers or whatever, I think that those guys, they've started to get back to kind of their identity, what they were with Todd Gurley, and become more of that. Look, it's a lot of bells and whistles. It's a lot of disguise, but they've become a run team that has helped now supplement their pass game. So I think that the running backs for the Rams collectively will be key in this game. As for the Patriots, there is no surprise, and that's the thing here. There's no surprise for New England. So I don't know that anybody's a breakout star. They need all of the guys that they have to do what they've been doing and play well. I think the offensive line is going to have to be great, because if they do pass, Cam's going to need time to throw. And if they do run, which we expect them to, they're going to need to push the pile. Where this game, and it's cliche because it's probably the same for most teams not named the Chiefs in the NFL, but the Patriots will win or lose this game on first down offensively. If they get into 2nd and 12 and 3rd and 8, they're not going to be able to win. They need to push the pile, and they need to get to 2nd and 7 and 3rd and 4, and that's what will give them an opportunity to do things offensively. They're not a passing offense, and they're not built to play from 3rd and 8. Like, the Chiefs can play from 3rd and 12. The Packers can play from 3rd and 9 if they had to. McVay can scheme up something. The Patriots can't do that. They need to be good on first down, and they need to establish the tone. So I guess the key to this game is the Patriots' offensive line, setting the tone, being physical, pushing the pile, and putting them in good down and distance, because they need it more than most teams. They can win games, but they have a very specific formula, and they're not – the margin for error is very, very, very thin, because if they're right, they're going to take 12 plays, 74 yards, and it's going to take them 6.5 minutes. And if that doesn't result in touchdowns, they're screwed.
Yeah, and the funny thing is you bring that up, and it's like Sean McVay has actually been, pretty recently he's tailored the playbook and really just the game plan into getting the Rams in those third and short situations. So I even think they, in a sense, don't, they can't really, they can at times, but they're not like the Chiefs. They're not like the Saints. They're not like the Packers, and where you feel comfortable with them in third and long. You should. They have all the talent in the world on that offense. They have all the weapons in the world, but it hasn't really translated. I think the interesting thing here is that the Rams are one of the top teams in explosive plays, but what isn't, explained in those stats, and you can only know by watching the film, is that a lot of those plays come from those bubble screens. And I gotta tell you, the bubble screens, not only do they get overused, and any Rams fan can tell you when Sean McVay is going to use a bubble screen.
Speed out Cooper Kupp, baby.
So, you have to imagine if they're going to use bubble screens like that, Bill Belichick's going to be ready for that. But one interesting dynamic about this, Bill Belichick has not gone against the Rams with their full weapons. In the Super Bowl, Cooper Kupp was out. So it is a little interesting here, and you could argue as great as, Gurley and CJ Anderson looked, in the postseason game against Dallas. This is a better running back group for this team this year. So I think he's going against a better team, if you want my honest opinion, with a lesser talented team than the one in the Super Bowl. So I think that's definitely something to, keep in mind. But kind of moving into this question, Who would you say is the biggest breakout defense player on each team?
Oof. Well, to be honest with you, I don't know as much about the Rams defensively in terms. I know the names that everybody knows. The secondary collectively, I think, is the key for them. We talk about Hill, and you talk about Johnson and Fuller and Ramsey. I think that allows them to do a lot of things up front. I think they can bring a lot of pressure, and they can sell out on the run because they know that their secondary can shut down this Patriots wide receiver group. This Patriots wide receiver group doesn't get separation, it doesn't get open easily, and it doesn't have any verticality to it. So I fully trust, if the Rams want to put 9 guys up there and leave Jalen Ramsey on an island by himself, I trust them to be able to do that. And that ability doesn't exist for every team in the NFL. So I think the secondary collectively for the Rams is the key, because that good secondary then allows Brockers and Donald and these guys to get home and wreak havoc in the run game and in the pass game. For the Patriots, it's going to come down to their secondary also. No, I take that back. The Patriots linebacking crew is the biggest issue here, because it was by far the weakest link of the team all year. Only recently has it started to figure itself out. Jawan Bentley's been better. Josh Uche has played more and been good. Anthony Jennings has made an impact. Chase Winovich has played more and been good. The Patriots, one, need to stay disciplined at linebacker, because if they fall for the bells and whistles and fall for the pre-snap motion and get confused, that's going to be an issue. You wouldn't have had to worry about that as much if Hightower was here. So they need to stay disciplined and not fall for all that excess stuff. And then they need to be able to tackle in space, because if the Rams are going to throw it short and try to get cute, as they've done in the past, they're going to need to be able to stop 3-yard passes at 3-yard passes. 3-yard passes cannot become 11-yard passes. And a lot of that's going to come on the linebacking crew.
Yeah. And, this kind of brings me into, I wanted to get into stat predictions, but, we talk about the defense and of both teams. And I truly think, as we've kind of touched on, I think this is going to be a defensive game. I think that both defenses are going to play really well. And when I think about stat predictions, it's so hard to make like any predictions against Bill Belichick, honestly, because I just think, there's not really a ton of room to get away with a lot. But I do think, if I had to make a stat prediction personally, I feel like each team is going to have at least 2 interceptions. I think Jared Goff, especially when he gets rattled, he tends to throw interceptions like nearly every play. So I wouldn't be surprised if that happens, because I do think the Patriots defense is going to rattle him. But I'm curious for both of you, if you have any stat predictions. I know that mine is kind of generic, but I do think that there are going to be a lot of turnovers and interceptions in this game, because I do think that the defense of both teams is going to step up.
I don't think the Pats throw it enough to have 2 interceptions. Now, maybe late, if they're in the game, 1-possession game, maybe you got to try to make some things happen. Other than that, I don't see it. Cam has been really good at not turning the football over, and they've imparted to him to not turn the football over. The Patriots are far more likely to run, punt, I think, than they are to throw interceptions. My stat prediction is that Cam throws for 1 or fewer touchdowns in this game, and the only reason why I say that is because he's looking to tie the NFL record. The NFL record is 16 straight games with 1 or fewer touchdowns, and Cam is at 15 right now. I think Robert Griffin III from 2013 to 16 has the NFL record at 16 games. Cam is going to tie that record in this one tomorrow night.
Wow, that's incredible. That's I don't know if that's one that you want to have, but as a quarterback, he's definitely been interesting, watching Tom Brady for years with the Patriots, and now going to Cam Newton. It's just like a completely different type of offense, and really kind of a weird one, because I really expected them to go with Stidham, and then Newton ended up getting signed. But before that, I thought they were going to sign Jameis Winston. I thought he could have, made some sense. But yeah, so stat predictions in this one, I mean, the Rams didn't have Cooper Kupp in the Super Bowl. I think Cooper Kupp is going to have a game. And I think Robert Woods is as well. I think they're both going to go over 100 yards. This could be a game. This could be a stereotypical Rams game where Goff throws for 351 yards and they somehow only put up 24 points on the board or something along those lines. I would not be surprised.
I don't think there's any shot that happens.
I'm still, because we still have the game prediction section of this, I'm still kind of wavering on that. But I think both of them will go over 100 yards. And I think that the defense is going to get 2 interceptions as well. And I think that Darius Williams is going to come down with one of them. Those are my predictions. Actually, I'll say this. Derek Rivers will get a sack against his former team.
I don't think there's any shot that Goff throws for 350 yards.
I don't think he's going to throw for 351
This game is going to be...
I'm saying it'll be like one of those stereotypical, like, he'll throw for a lot of yards, but the score won't match up. Because, I mean, if you think about it, they are 3rd in offensive yards, but they're 17th in points per game. That is literally a Rams stat line in a nutshell.
Yeah, but I think the Patriots secondary is too good. Like, I think that Higbee could have a game potentially if he's working against Duggar. Duggar's has played better the last couple of weeks, but I can see the tight end being a problem spot. But they just held in a game that they were up 45 to, like, they won 45 to nothing. Completely pass-centric game plan for the Chargers at that point. Justin Herbert, who's a great passer, threw for 209 yards. Kyler Murray did nothing against this offense. Goff's not throwing for 351, and Woods and Kupp are not getting 100 yards each. This is going to be ugly. Like, I could see the game turning on a turnover. I could see it turning on a special teams play. Like, I just don't think that the Rams are going up and down the field in this game to accumulate those kind of stats. I think it's going to be field position for a while, and all of a sudden the Patriots get backed up at their own 2, and they can't get a first down, and they kick it out to the 40, and then the Rams have field possession in their favor, and they've only got to go 30 yards to get a field goal. Like, I think that's how this game is going to be played. I don't think this will be a very fun game to watch, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Well, no, and I actually agree, because in closing, we kind of give our final score predictions, and you kind of mentioned yours earlier. I believe you said, was it 14-9 or
19-14.
Well, my prediction is a little bit similar. I think that the Rams are going to win 14-7. Super boring, like super brutal to watch, super boring. People who aren't Rams or Patriots fans probably won't finish it. Like, that's how I expect this game to go. Like, I don't think it's going to be really, honestly, anything to talk about. But, I could be wrong. That's just how I see it going.
If the Patriots are going to win this game, it's going to have to be that ugly. Like, if they're going to win, they put up 45 only because of special teams, right? So they put up 45 with a blocked kick touchdown and a punt return for a touchdown. And the Patriots have had great special teams plays the last two games. That stuff isn't repeatable. Like, they're lucky they've got it back-to-back games, so I don't see them getting that kind of splash play 3 games in a row. So I think they're going to actually have to be methodical down the field or force a turnover and work on a short field. I don't think they're going to score easily. If they do score easily, it's going to be because they had a whole lot of help from all 3 phases. 19-14 Rams is my score. I think the Rams play a good enough defense and they make just enough plays on offense. But yeah, I don't think that this one's real pretty to watch.
Yeah, and now that it kind of marinated with me, I'm going to take back my stat predictions on the receivers, but I'll say this. I think the running backs are going to have a ton of yards receiving because I think that is the way you attack this defense. Because, I mean, if you're worried about Goff taking care of the football, you're not going to throw at Stephon Gilmore. You're not going to throw at J.C. Jackson. You're going to dump it off to Darrell Henderson and Cam Akers and watch them, do something in the open field. And so I think they'll go over 125 yards running back receiving total. But as far as the game prediction, I'm going to go 24-16 in a very, very ugly game. I think the Rams get a touchdown to kind of seal it at the end. But yeah, I agree with you. I think it is going to be relatively ugly. I mean, the Rams have the potential to turn this into a blowout if Cam Newton turns the ball over. But like you mentioned, Cam Newton's been taking care of the football. He's been conservative. So if he's not, going out and launching the ball, like a Kyler Murray or somebody like that, then there's not really a ton of room for error. Obviously, fumbling the football, he did, there was a game they had an opportunity to win. I forget which one it was. And
Buffalo.
Oh, that was brutal. But yeah, I think if that's the case, then that would change things. This defense, however, and this is one thing to bring up, is, this team against the Niners were done. And when you saw that game, I mean, you're like, they don't have it today. And the Rams scored 17 points in 3 minutes because of their defense. This is a defense that can score points in bunches. You have guys like, Troy Hill had a pick 6 against, the Cardinals. Aaron Donald. I mean, he's what can you say about Aaron Donald that hasn't already been said? And then, Jalen Ramsey. I mean, technically the Rams have like 2 franchise quarterback contracts on the defense. And so, at the end of the day, I think, that's just kind of what you could see, especially another player that I want to bring up who was a little quiet the last 2 games, Leonard Floyd. If he gets a sack, I mean, they come in bunches and he can really, start to go off as well as John Johnson. And you saw Jordan Fuller in the Tampa Bay game. So, I mean, this is going to be a 24-16 game I have, or, something around where we have it. But if the Rams blow out the Patriots, I mean, I wouldn't be shocked either, just because what this defense has shown they can do this year.
I'd be surprised if they blew them out. The Patriots they don't play games where there are blowouts. They've been in every game that they played, with the exception of the 49ers game where they got beat 33-6. And I'm willing to give them the COVID pass on that for Cam. And he hasn't used it as an excuse, and I've never had COVID, so I can't say exactly. But if Cam, number one, he could have had something physical going on in that game. And even if he didn't, just trying to play catch up on learning the offense, I think that impacted as well. I mean, there were close game with Miami, close game with Seattle, 1-score game with Denver, 1-score game with Buffalo. They don't really have the ability to blow a team out. The Chargers, they got a bunch of help on with special teams, but they beat the Cardinals by 3. Like, they don't blow teams out and they don't get blown out. So I'd be surprised if that happened.
Yeah, I don't foresee a blowout of any kind in this game. But I do think it's going to be so fun to watch. I think it's going to be I think it's going to be brutal. I do think that the Rams are finally going to beat the Patriots. I think our time has come, so that is very exciting. But I don't think the result of getting there, the process of getting to the result, I should say, is going to be fun to watch at all.
I just want to see the Rams wear a wearable jersey. They better not wear these all
Don't get me started.
These all gray things or whatever they bring out. Those things are atrocious.
Yeah, don't get me started. I have to be very, very careful because I'm in the minority of the Rams fandom on the jerseys, but I agree with you.
Yeah, these all, I don't even know what color to call it. They say it looks like a ram's horn or something like that. It's not anthracite. It's too late for that, but it's gross is what it is.
It's the ram's horn of our deceased and ancient ancestors. Blood that they shed.
I can confirm that they are going to be wearing their blues with the bone pants. So.
The worst combo ever created for the Rams.
I actually like them, but
it's like pick one or the other. I actually like the all blues, so I'm just totally in the opposite of what everyone else, I guess, because I like the all blue ones. The only thing that really bothers me is the gradient, because I feel like I'm making a PowerPoint in 2002. But other than the gradient, I don't mind it. I think that they look really, really cool. But the bone, not a fan of, and I'm certainly not a fan of the blue with the whatever pants. I just think it's like it gives me a headache to look at, but whatever. I can get over it.
I think the Patriots, don't quote me on this, I think the Patriots are the only team in the league without an alternate jersey. The Patriots only have two jerseys. Their color rush jersey is their actual home jersey. So their color rush jersey and their regular jersey are the same. And their road jersey, which they'll wear tomorrow, then are white with blue pants. I think they're the only team in the league also without white pants in their uniform set at all. They only have blue pants.
That's weird.
They wear blue bottoms with white tops, or they wear blue bottoms with blue tops. I think that they're the only team, or maybe they're the only team that has one color pants. Maybe it's all of the above, but they don't have any kind of cool uniforms. People are holding out hope that they'll bring back the red Pat Patriot uniforms at some point. So there's some talk of they don't have any alternate jersey because they're waiting to unveil a red one that looks like their old 1980s jerseys.
Well, I can tell you that next year, you probably already know this, but with the helmet shell rule, how they can have multiple helmet shells next year.
That hasn't been changed yet.
Yeah, it's going to be next year. It was in an interview with what's his face, Bruce Arians. He confirmed the NFL is changing it next year, and so
he did not.
Yeah,
he did not confirm that.
Yeah, he did. So they were saying that's why they're going to go to they're not going to go do it permanently, but he was saying that they're going to go to the creamsicle uniforms.
Yeah, but I think he said in the next couple of years they were hoping. I remember that interview. I
thought he said 2021.
Not try to one up you on your own podcast, but
no, you're good.
I'm trying to find that, but
because if he did that, that'd be great. I think the Patriots red uniforms are awesome, and
he said that on that Arians interview was on the Dan Patrick show. Like I remember it perfectly.
Yeah.
Well, the Rams are also going to have bright red uniforms.
Wait, red?
Little known fact.
What are you talking about?
They're going to have bright red uniforms with a green horn. Did you not hear?
No, all right.
The Rams, though, aren't they doing something weird where they have like 100 uniforms and they're bringing out new ones every year for 3 years or something?
You are correct.
Yeah, and they're going to have gradient.
Well, I don't know about that, but I heard through the grapevine a black uniform is coming. So
that doesn't shock me. It's
it
like
could
the NBA.
Have the red. Oh yeah. No, the NBA is beyond anything I've ever seen, Brady.
Every team in the NBA just has a black uniform. Like the Celtics have a black uniform, and everyone's got a black uniform. The Lakers have a black uniform.
The city edition is the worst idea ever.
Everyone in the NBA just has like 50 uniforms per team. I just feel like every time I see a team, I see a new uniform. Like, I feel like there's enough uniform combinations for each team that, like, they could probably have a new uniform every home game of the season.
Oh, yeah.
they
The
have
NFL,
uniform
I
sets
think-
that don't even have their team on them, like Buzz City.
I think the NFL rule is that, though, I think you can only wear, oh man, what is this rule? I think you can only wear like 3 different uniforms over the course of the year and then your color rush uniform.
It's weird how particular they are.
I know. I'm really trying to find this rule on the one helmet rule. I just thought they all want it gone, and they're all trying to get it gone, and it could be gone next year, but it's not official yet.
Yeah, I mean, I obviously it was a while ago I saw that, but I thought I remember him saying that it was going to be 2021.
Well, it's amazing. You're too young, but like it's amazing, like how all these uniforms that were awful and ugly are now great again. Like these Bucks, like the Bucks jerseys, nobody liked them, and now everybody wants them, and I want them too.
Yeah, I want them. I remember Josh Freeman wearing them.
Yes, the thing, Josh Freeman, former Montreal Alouettes quarterback, I've interviewed him. So the thing about it is what happened was in the mid 90s and then in the 2000s, all the teams that were animals, they all went to a more angry looking version of the animal. So like the lion got a little meaner, the panther got a little meaner, the eagle became slanted, the Seahawk became slanted, the Cardinal became slanted. If you were an animal-driven team, your logo became slanted, angular, and angry looking, and that's where all these uniform changes came from.
Is that why there's no pandas in the NFL?
Because they're too nice?
Yeah.
Well, I'd love for the Seahawks to go back to their royal blue jerseys, but they can't because the bird looks too wimpy.
Oh, that's true. Actually, that's a good point. And everyone loves the regular Falcon one.
Yeah,
Falcons uniforms are also horrific.
Oh, the new ones, yeah, they're bad.
They're just
They need to go back to their red
bad.
helmets.
the
they
red
need to
helmets.
Just get rid of that combo.
The ones that they wore last week are cool. The black, the throwback, like I think they wore them with white pants, but I'd rather wear it with silver pants. But like the old, like Deion Sanders uniforms with the black helmet and the black jersey and the silver pants. But I'm with you also. The red helmet, Deion's early year, those were sick too.
Yeah, and the Bills should never go back to their red helmets. I just prefer the Falcons, but and then the Rams. I mean, I don't know if they'll ever go back to their old uniforms. To be honest with you, I don't see it.
Navy.
I mean, they might do like a throwback here and there, but I mean, it seems to me like Troy brought up, or Troy, that's your brother, Brady.
Yeah.
I knew that was going to happen at least one of those times. No, it was either going to be they were going to bring all these new uniforms or they were going to bring the throwback at some point. I don't think the throwback is any of these new uniforms. I don't think they would marquee it as such for it to be like a new uniform in 2021, 2022, if they were bringing like something completely new.
Yeah, I thought I saw that. Yeah, they were bringing back just bringing out all new versions of this same jersey. Not that they were going back. They kind of have the throwback. I mean, like I know it's different shading and the Ram logo looks different, but like they have the blue with yellow combination.
They've never matched their helmet with their jersey before, ever in their history. The blue has never been the same because the blue is darker on the helmet than the jersey. Pretty crazy. Even with the St. Louis Rams, they didn't entirely match. They came. That was the closest they came to matching, but they never fully matched.
As long as we got over the era where we had the white and navy helmet with the like 2 years ago, we had a white and navy helmet, but then we had the navy and gold uniform. It gave me a seizure looking at it. It just was horrible. Like I couldn't look at my screen. I was like, I was either put the gold back in the helmet or take the gold out of the jersey. But I'm a little bit of a snob, I think, when it comes to jerseys, because I just don't understand. Like, I feel like teams try to overcomplicate it. Like, I like simple. It doesn't have to be fancy. Like, don't start throwing all this stuff on the jersey. I don't know. I just feel like it's just gotten to be a little much.
I love these Patriot New Jerseys. I really do. I love the color rush blues and the white jersey. A lot of people don't like them because they've got the weird striping that goes over. I actually think it looks sharp. I actually like the Patriots uniforms. So I think that they look good in them. They just, now if only they could get some wide receivers who could wear them a little better than our current group.
Yeah. Now, last question for you. Why do we all like uniforms so much?
I love uniforms. I always have, like, because, like, again, you're too young to really appreciate this, but, like, you still had them. But, like, you would go to a restaurant or something, you got the gumball machine, but next to the gumball machine, you had all the little football helmets. So, like, I would, for 25 cents, I'd get a new football helmet every time I went anywhere. So I just had this massive collection of mini football helmets, and they're all these old throwback jerseys or throwback helmets. Then you play Madden growing up, and you put them in all these throwback uniforms. You do different things. You grow an appreciation for them there. And now, because they never wear them, absence makes the heart grow fonder.
That was a perfect answer.
I mean, that's why I like them.
I think that's why everyone likes it. Madden, the helmet collection. I mean, everyone collects those helmets. Still, there's people that collect them. And, I mean, yeah, the absence makes the heart grow fonder. That absolutely is true, because I feel like people didn't care about, like, the people that cared about the throwback, like the blue and yellow Rams ones, they didn't care about the blue and white until the blue and white was gone, and now those people are complaining about losing the blue and white.
I think the other thing is, and I don't know that this would matter to me as much, but I think it does matter to some people. If your team lost in those uniforms, you didn't like them in the time. Like, there's a lot of people that don't like Pat Patriot because they associate it with losing. And a lot of people don't like the creamsicle jerseys in Tampa, or didn't like the creamsicle jerseys in Tampa because they associate it with the team being so awful. Now, 25 years later, it's become a cool thing to look back on. But in the moment, it was like the whole organization is cloaked in this stench, and that's part of it. So they all wanted to cleanse themselves of it.
Another great point.
Yeah.
I mean, the Rams only won one Super Bowl, and they won it in the throwback aways, and they never wore them again. So I don't know.
Were they wearing white with yellow pants in that Super Bowl?
The one against the Titans?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. It wasn't white with white pants. It was white with yellow.
Yes, correct. They didn't.
Okay.
I don't think they had white and white. They had a yellow one. They had the year Jerome Bettis was on the team.
They had a yellow jersey when Jerome Bettis played?
Yeah, so they had like this special like yellow jersey with like the blue number, and it didn't have horns or anything on it. It just looked like more of the old school look where they had like the piping on the sides.
Okay, I can honestly say I've never seen that jersey, so I'm going to have to look it up.
Yeah, and you can just look up Jerome Bettis and Rams uniform. That's what it will come up. And they had like a white. It honestly was like the white Steelers one, like the yellow stripe on. Like they had white pants with like a yellow piping stripe on the side.
Yeah,
and that was that. Yeah, it was bizarre. I don't think they'll ever do that again, but I won't say they'll never do it again. I'll just say
I'll have to look that up. I love uniforms. So like, especially baseball uniforms. I could go all day on this, but anyways, 1914 Rams over the Patriots.
Alexis, take us away.
All right, guys. Sorry to cut the uniform conversation short. I know we could talk about that forever, and I could give my opinions that no one likes about uniforms forever. But I'm excited for this game tomorrow. I know Brady and Jake are as well. It's going to be, in our opinion, our collective opinion, brutal. So sorry, guys. Obviously anything can happen, but I think that it's going to be a close game. But we'll see. So, as always, if you like what you hear, please like and subscribe. You can follow us on Instagram and Twitter, at Downtown Rams. You can follow me at the Alexis Craft. You can follow Jake at JK Bogan DTSN. And Brady, do you want to plug your handles so people can go ahead and give you a follow?
Sure, at WDEV Radio Brady. At WDEV Radio Brady.
And there you have it, guys. All right. We will be back either tomorrow night or the day after with a breakdown of the Patriots versus Rams game. But until then, everyone stay healthy and go Rams.